We have written some tests for the launch function. The next thing that we want to test is the attach function. The attach function is not going to be as simple as testing the launch function because the launch function launched a new process for us. But the attach function requires a process to be already running. So in a test, we would need to run a process, and then we would need to test if that function, if that process, my bad, if that process is being tracked by some other process. For launch, we could simply test the fact that whether or not the process was running or not. So, but for attach, we want to check the running state of the process. We want to check if the process is being tracked. And for launch, we checked if a process was running using the Procfs, the Proc file system, which is the virtual directory. And inside of this virtual directory, let's say if our PID is 123, then there exists a virtual directory called proc 123. We could use this to tell if a process was running. But inside this directory, we have other information about the process. Matter of fact, it has the precise information that we need to test the attach function. In uh, proc slash 123 slash stat file, we would have the data required to tell if a process is being tracked or not. Let me show you what I mean. Let's go to WSL and let's cat proc slash 1 slash stat, and you can see some information that was printed out. Now this information, uh, just go to the docs of Linux and you realize that this is the process ID, this is the name of the process, and this is the running state of the process, this as you see right here. This tells us whether a process, let me show you what it means. So I simply just asked ChatGPT what this means, what the S after systemd means, and what our values can it be. The S after systemd is the process state, and the S means that the process is sleeping. And if you would go through all the variants, you'd see something that we need. If instead of S it was a small t, it would mean that the process is being traced by some other process. So if I were to test for this, I can simply check if this value is equal to small t, and that would tell me if the process is being traced by some other process. But before that, we need to launch a process. So we already have some code, something written in process that we have launched, right? And it has the logic that we want. So I'll extract some of the important things that we need just for testing. I won't bring in the whole code and I won't call this function in here, this launch function. I'll create a new function that will launch a new process for me. So let's call it fn launch test process, and let's give it a program path, and it's going to be a string slice. And let's say it returns a result of uh, process comma string. Now let's copy some things at least. Let's copy this, let's copy this, let's copy the entire thing, and then we'll remove the unrequired things. Okay, so I do need this, I need a fork, and I need this process new. Let's make it public, and right here I don't want to trace the process. I want the attach function to trace the process, so I'm not going to trace it. So let's remove this, and this is fine. Program path, exec args, exec result, and if error, I'm going to write tracing child process failed, and instead of this I will return an error of format exec failed, And let's just say this. We're going to return this from here. Fork failed. And I think that's it. This function will be used for testing. We will use this to launch a process. So let us launch a process then. Mm, test launch. Let me bring this function down actually. It's just a helper function, and let's create a test now. And let's call it function test process attach success, and let launch res equal to the function we created right here. And I will launch yes with it. We launch yes. Let's match on launch res, add remaining patterns, and proc is going to be process. And in case the launch fails, I can, let's take the string and let's just say assert false. I want the test case to fail in this case, and I will say the issue is the string we returned. And in case the process was launched successfully, I now want to attach to it. So let attach result equal to process of attach, and let's say proc dot, this attach function takes a string, right? Yeah, it takes a string, so I need to convert proc dot pid to a string. Let proc arg equal pid arg. Pid arg equals to proc dot pid dot as raw dot to string, and then I can pass a reference to it. What's the issue? Add, yeah, my bad. Pid arg, sorry. Reference to the pid arg, that will give me the result that should have launched. But in case it failed, in case there was an error, if let error of whatever, I don't care whatever the error is, I just want to check that if there is an error, I want to assert false and say that atta attach failed. All right. Now, uh, I showed you I showed you this, that these are the possible values for the process state. Now, after launching it, I assume the state of the process is going to be running. Uh, I'm telling you this now that it's not as simple as that. As soon as we attach to a process, it simply turns its state to T. We would need to wait for a while because all these processes happen on at the OS level asynchronously. So all this changing of state, etc., happens asynchronously. So we need to wait for a little while before we can check the state. It will take some time after attaching to the process for its state to change. So let's wait for a while. I'll say std thread sleep, and I'll sleep for duration from milliseconds. I'll wait for 50 milliseconds. I think that should be enough. If it's not, we'll increase the time, and let process state equal to uh, get. Now so we need something. I'll create let So I need a method that will extract the process state for me. Get process state from the PID. So it will take in a PID and it will extract the process state and return it to us. So I want it to be a character, or rather I want it to be a result of character, because maybe we passed in the wrong PID. So let's say it's a result of uh, char and there can be an error. So string get process state, and I'm going to get the process state. So let's create this function. It takes, let's send it proc dot pid dot as raw. Let's send it as raw, and let's create this function right here. I don't want it to be a pid t. Pid t pub type pip t is I32. Why is it I32? Why can it not be? Hmm. Let's convert it to U32 instead. I don't know what pid t is, and let's just say pid. But now this is complaining. Dot into. Maybe it will work. I think it's working. It's fine, I suppose. And so we get a pid, and I want to now extract the process state from proc pid stat file. So I want to read that file, and then I want to get I showed you the what it looks like, right? So we have a process name in brackets. So I want to find the last bracket, and then I want to skip over two characters, and that will give me the process state. So let's do that. Let's read in this file and then find the index of the last parentheses and then move over to indexes. So let's first construct the path. Let path equal to format of proc and then stat file. Sorry. And let's pass in the PID. That will be the path. So let's read that data. So std fs read, I guess so. What else? What other options do we have? Read, reader, read link, read to string. So read would return a vec of u8, a vector of bytes. I don't want bytes. I want to do simple string manipulation. So I'll do this, read to string, and inside of it I will pass in the path. Let data equals to, it's a result of string. Okay, so let's, sorry, let's, I want to extract the string out of it, but if in case there is an error, I want to return an error. So can we simply do this? What's the issue? Could not convert error to string. Ah, damn it. Its return type is not a string. Let's convert it to an error. No, it returns a. Could not convert error type error to string. Import standard error. Expected din error found. I don't know. Let's just match, and so if let data equals to if okay of data in data, I will if let In that case, I will return D. Else, let's return an error reading failed to or something. Let's just say failed to read data from path, and let's put it in a format. Path dot clone. Okay. So now we have the data string. Let's find the last occurrence of this parentheses. Let's find this parentheses now. So we can do that with data dot rfind. No, data dot chars dot rfind. This is essentially last index of, if you're coming from the Java world. It returns, but okay. Uh, let in parentheses index parent index equal to this, and let's match on it. Let match parent index, and wait a minute, semicolon, and if none, if we don't find something in it, let's return an error and say data in invalid format, because I am expecting there to be a closing parentheses. Otherwise, we found an index. It's a last index of dot rfind. What is, huh? Does it not return the index? No, this returns the character. We have rfind, right? Yeah, we do. So index, it returns the index to us, and then I want to move over by 2. So let state index equal to I plus 2, and let's find the let state equal to data dot chars dot nth, and let's pass in state index, and this is an option of a character, right? So uh, let's match on it. Match state, and if we match something, this will be the character, right? Yeah, we match a character, and if that is the case, then I can return an OK of C. Otherwise, I can return, let's just return data in invalid format again, and remove this return from here. Okay, this will return the process state for me. Get process state, this returns the process state to me, and let's now test that this process state is definitely equal to T. So process state is a result of char and string, right? So let's match on process state, and in case it's okay, S for state, for let's call it C for character, assert EQ that C is equal to T. Otherwise, I can assert false. Assert false, and let's say the error message is this is the error message, and I think that is it. I think we should try to run the test now. Cargo test. Does it work? No, it doesn't. What's the error? Error is the trait from not implemented. Where into? This into is not working. So maybe we can do as U32. Let's try that. Assertion, type assertion. It worked. Great. All right. So we successfully tested the attach success case. Let's try to attach to process 0. Actually, in Linux, the thing is you can never attach to a process with PID 0 because there is no process. The root process, the parent process for all process is the process ID PID 1. So you cannot actually attach to a process that has a PID of 0. So let's see that it fails. Let's test that it fails. Fn test process attach. I will try to attach to PID 0 and it should fail. So let attach instead of match process of attach, and I will pass in, it takes a string, right? So okay, so in case this passes, that's wrong. I want to assert false. Attached to process with PID 0, and in case it errors out, that's fine. I want it to be not be able to attach to process 0. Assert true. Let's see if this works. Alright, so this test works as well. And this is the behavior that we're actually testing in that second test. We cannot actually attach to a PID 0 because PID 0 is not a real process on Linux. So that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.